The morning mist clung to the narrow straits between the island of Salamis and the Attic coast. The sea was calm, but tension rippled through the Greek fleet like a gathering storm. The Persians, led by King Xerxes himself, had already burned Athens to the ground. Now, their vast armada, over 1,000 ships, loomed just beyond the horizon, ready to crush the last resistance of the free Greek city-states. Among the Greek commanders, one man stood resolute, Themistocles of Athens. A cunning strategist, he had convinced the allied Greeks to make their stand here, in these confined waters where Persia's numerical advantage would mean nothing. But not all agreed. The Peloponnesians, especially the Spartans under Eurybiades, still argued for retreat, wanting to defend their homeland instead. The council of war inside the cramped hull of a trireme, the Greek commanders gathered in heated debate. "We should fall back to the Isthmus of Corinth," Eurybiades barked, his Spartan pride flaring. "Fighting here leaves our cities undefended," Themistocles clenched his fists. "If we scatter, Xerxes will pick us off one by one. Here, in these straits, their numbers will be their downfall," Adeimantus of Corinth scoffed. "You Athenians have nothing left to lose. Our homes still stand," Themistocles' eyes burned with urgency. "And they will burn too, unless we stand together." The argument raged until finally, Themistocles played his last card. He sent a trusted slave, Sisinus, to Xerxes with a false message: "The Greeks are in disarray. They plan to flee tonight. Strike now, and victory is yours." Xerxes takes the bait on his golden throne atop Mount Agalius. Xerxes received the messenger. His advisors warned caution, but the great king, eager to crush the Greeks once and for all, gave the order. "Tonight, we blockade the straits. Let not a single Greek ship escape." As the sun set, the Persian fleet moved into position, sealing the exits. Rowing silently, their ships filled the narrow waters, confident of an easy victory. But Themistocles had anticipated this. His plan was unfolding perfectly. Dawn of battle. As the first light of dawn touched the waves, the Greeks waited. The Persian ships, cramped together in the narrow strait, struggled to maneuver. Their sheer numbers, meant to overwhelm, now worked against them. Themistocles stood on the deck of his trireme, raising his voice above the clamor. "Men of Greece, today, we fight not for glory, but for freedom. For your wives, your children, for the very soul of Hellas." A roar erupted from the Greek sailors. The trumpets sounded, and the triremes surged forward. Chaos in the strait. The Greeks, with their smaller, more agile ships, darted between the Persian behemoths. The Phoenician and Ionian crews, packed too tightly, could not turn or retreat. Greek hulls rammed into Persian sides, splintering wood and sending men screaming into the sea. A Persian admiral shouted orders, but his voice was lost in the din. A Greek trireme slammed into his vessel, its bronze ram tearing through the hull. Archers on deck rained death upon the panicking crew. Xerxes, watching from his throne, paled as his mighty fleet collapsed into chaos. Ships collided, oars snapped, and the water turned red with blood. The turning tide. Queen Artemisia of Halicarnassus, one of Xerxes' few competent commanders, fought fiercely. Seeing disaster unfolding, she ordered a retreat, but even her skill could not stem the rout. The Greeks pressed their advantage. The Spartan and Corinthian ships, though reluctant at first, now fought with brutal efficiency. The Persians, unable to flee, were slaughtered or drowned. By midday, the straits were a graveyard of broken ships. The remnants of Xerxes' fleet fled in disarray. The Greeks had won. Aftermath. Xerxes, humiliated, watched as his dreams of conquest shattered. With his navy destroyed, his supply lines were cut. He retreated to Asia, leaving his general Mardonius to face the Greeks at Plataea, another defeat that would end Persia's invasion for good. Themistocles was hailed as a hero. Salamis had not just been a battle, it had saved Greece. The free cities would endure, their culture and democracy preserved to shape the future of the Western world. And so, on the waters of Salamis, cunning and courage had triumphed over brute force. A victory not just of ships and men, but of strategy, unity, and the unyielding will to be free.